All right. Welcome to my first sort of commentary voiceover style video for one of my league races that I'm doing. This is going to be Ifar's. This is season 13, first race of Ifar season, or the Ifar season. First race of the Ifar season, and we're coming in as the reigning champion, even after a little bit of a controversial finish to the season there. But we're hoping to start off strong. Daytona's always been a good track for us. Won twice here. And in other leagues as well. Good success here. So starting on pole, hoping that that'll propel us to a good spot. Just hoping to get a good result. Of course, plate racing is always a bit of an unknown factor in both real life and in the game. So hoping to get a good result, even if it's not a win, just try and salvage a top 5, get good points coming into the rest of the season, because consistency is definitely the key for being there at the end for the championship. So that's our goal here today. And yeah, starting on the lead, starting from pole, like I said, we had to sort the order because we had a server issue. So we had to sort the order again after we were coming to the green. We had to set the order again after we took the green in game. So yeah, coming out of 4 now. We're going to be rolling here. We're going to be calling the green. We're the control car. Going to come to the green. 100 laps here tonight at Daytona. Long race, but 250 miles and should be good. Green flag is out. Crossing the line now, and we're going to be underway for season 13. Good restart from us. Natani, another really good plate racer, a good friend of mine, qualified second. He's going to be on the outside, get a good restart as well, but he's looking outside, but because we got a better restart and we were able to call it, he's going to drop back just a little bit and probably get in line with us here, as he does now, dropping down to the bottom. Faster on the restarts, definitely, to take the shorter way around the track when the cars aren't up to speed, but the middle lane opens up as cars start getting bunched up and they start pushing each other. Looking to work with Natani for the majority of this race here if we're near each other, because he's just a really good pusher. I'm a really good pusher, I feel like, and I don't know, we just managed to understand each other's moves and what we're doing pretty well, so hoping for that to be something that we can use to our advantage in this race. Coming to lead lap 1, doesn't mean much, but we led a lap this race. That's really all I was worried about. Skip a couple laps here. Still leading, but you can see in the mirror there, Gino in the 24, he's starting to get that outside lane to work. We're still leading on the bottom, so I'm not too concerned about coming up to block the top, especially this early into the race, only 3 laps in. Natani jumps up to the top. That's fine. We're not too worried about that. They check him up a little bit. Cole Rodriguez, another good plate buddy of mine, is inside now and has a little bit of a gap to me, so he's not giving me a great push, and the outside lane is going to get the run here, but doesn't matter too much because, again, it's early in the race. Not much to gain by racing super hard for the lead right now. Just worried about that last lap. And also worried about the strategy because as we're looking at my F3 menu here, we've got 14 projected laps, which after 3 laps, 3 plus 14, 17 laps. So that's about 17 or 18 laps we can make on fuel, which is pretty short for a 100-lap race. That's a lot of pit stops. So my mind is already focused on the strategy here. I'm hoping that we can get in line with some drafts so we can save fuel better because, less drag, less air resistance means the car can go faster speeds easier, which means we have better fuel economy. So Natani jumps down to the bottom after using the middle to get the lead. That's totally fine with us. We're good to push Natani, like I said before, and helps us on fuel a little bit. And again, not too worried about that outside lane just yet. They're fast. There are a lot of scheduled-in cars up there, which is a team. Both Gino and Blake work really well together, and I believe Garson's up there behind Landon. So we're hoping that either they can just take the lead early and we can just rest, or we just stay side by side and nothing too drastic happens as we get on to lap 4 here, I believe. Still 13 laps to go on the fuel, so not too worried about it. Skip ahead 10 laps here. Now we have 3 projected, so we're not going to be coming this lap, but we're going to be in the next lap. Although the outside lane has kind of died away and the rest of the field has also single filed out. A lot of pit calls in chat. A lot of people coming into pits this time. Natani calls it as well. We move up, but then it doesn't end up happening. For whatever reason, Natani doesn't pit or was trying to fake out. Totally works out for us. We're just going to push him around one more lap. We're going to pit next lap anyway. Still got Cole behind us, and again, not really worried about racing right now. We're all on the bottom, just trying to get around the track as fast as we can, get down to pit road. And I didn't practice my pedantry during the happy hour, so this was going to be my first time on the brakes, which I didn't feel super confident about coming in. But in the middle of 3 and 4 here, we're doing all right. We're leaving a gap to Natani. We got a gap back to Cole. Dip down to the apron, hard on the brakes. Keep it in third gear so we don't have too much engine braking, and just get it down to 55, pretty much right at the line. So felt good about my braking there. Felt like it wasn't too risky, wasn't too ambitious either. So 55, and even though we had the order reset, I was lucky enough to get the first box. So I have the latest pit box on pit road, which is a huge advantage because under yellow, when everyone's going 55 and they have to speed out of their box, they have that time after they get out of the box that they have to accelerate. For me, I just have to accelerate to the line. Under green, it doesn't matter just as much, but it still means we have a clear box coming in, and we come out the leader right ahead of Gino. Natani completely drops off of where he was before the stops because he had just a kind of a weird entry, and I think he got a penalty as well. So not going to be a factor for these first couple runs, but again, very long race, a lot of time for him to come back. Getting a little bit loose on the apron here because the merging point is out of 2, but we're doing all right as we're going to come out the leader of our pack. There's a couple cars that haven't pit yet. As you can see up here, it's going to be Josh, Tyler, Tala, and Victor, who are on our relative here. But again, not super worried about them. They're not our race right now. They're on a different strategy. As we come out, we're going to be the leader. We passed Tyler. We passed all those other cars that pit. And we worked our way to be with Gino and Blake, who are the main cars in our pack, and Trevor and Jeff, but they weren't racing on our lap. So just running in line here, trying to get the race to keep going on while saving our fuel, but not doing anything too ambitious. I move out of the way here and lose the lead, which might be confusing, but as much as, you know, you do want to lead to win a race, right now I'm just, like I said, my head's in the strategy. I want to be saving fuel the best I can. Move out of the way so I can get in the draft, have a car behind me and in front of me so I can lift or even clutch a little bit to try and save my fuel to get longer into the race. Skip a couple laps again here. We're following this pack pretty good. Gino wants to do the same thing we did earlier. And then Blake sort of just gets on the apron and we have to check up really bad. We were full on the brakes, full pressure. And we checked up really big. Thankfully, Trevor or Tyler were able to react fast enough. And now the pack's kind of broken up. And as you can see on the relative, Thomas Schroxel, who is our teammate, is leading the second pack of cars from that earlier pit stop. And they're gaining a ton of time on us now because we had to check up so bad. But it's better to check up and lose time than have a wrecked race car. So thankfully, that worked out. It was really scary, though. I thought it was going to be over early in the race. So fast forward again. Nothing really happens in these runs. It's kind of boring. Everyone's just rolling around. But we're going to be pitting this time. 1 projected. We pushed it a little bit further on field this time, trying to see what we can do. Going to be coming in. We're second in line again. Blake pretty much does the same thing that Natani does. We get good braking. I think we even go a little bit later, downshift a little earlier. Just on the line, doing all right. So good pit entry from us again. As you can see in the background, there's a car going around. It's Orion, one of our other teammates. Just unlucky being in our pack and not being able to get on pit road correctly. But again, it's pretty early in the race. We're not too worried about that. As I look at my tires here, my right front is completely destroyed because on these fuel strategy pit stops, we take 2 tires because 4 tires is longer than 2 cans on chassis 1, at least as far as I'm aware. So we take 2 tires so we can have some tires but still have a fast stop. Stop's not quite fast enough though because Gino's going to get ahead of us, but we get ahead of Blake, so net 0 position, gain loss, so we're good here. Going to be filing behind Gino. We don't want to be the leader anyway, so this works out. You can't see it behind us, but the pack kind of closes up. The cars that were behind us in a long pack behind were able to catch up because of some checkups in the middle. So they're able to catch back up to our pack, and now this top pack is going to be bigger than the 3 lead lap cars and 2 lap down cars that it was before, which is good news. Again, easier to save fuel, but it does mean there's a higher likeliness for wrecks. But not too worried about that right now. We're going to go to the outside, check up with Gino, let Blake, Kyle, and I think that's Natani, who's made up for his mistakes here, but I think he gets a penalty, so he has to come down again. Stays out to this outside, just so we can get back in line. We don't want to be leading this race. Troxel, like I said, our teammate catches up. I go down to the bottom, and then I'm like, we can let Gino in because there's nothing to race for right now. 65 laps left in the race, and a lot of strategy to come, so we might as well just play it safe, and there is no race. Lets him in, and it works out. Troxel has a moment there. Skip a couple more laps. We're getting closer to the end of this next run. Again, nothing really happens. Then we see smoke ahead. A car's around. Call the caution as the official, but they're checking up and literally can't see where they are until right then. I thought they were going to come down the track, but thankfully we lived. Panic moment there again. Another close call, but not too close, so we're all good. Safe in P4 ahead of our teammate Troxel, so we're good here. And it's okay that we're able to pit here because we had enough fuel to make it around anyway, and this just resets the fuel. Everyone's going to come in this time under caution now. This is our first caution of the race. This is where our late box will hopefully help us out in position. But we'll see. We're almost at halfway, about 3 laps to go to halfway. So a lot of race been done under green with just a bunch of green flag pit stops. So I'm kind of expecting the same thing here into this next phase of the race, this next half. I quickly look at my replay so I can fix not being able to see some car files. We get held in the box a little bit, had a good stop, and it's good enough for third, not good enough to pass anybody else. I think Gino had a bad stop, which is why we passed him. And we end up restarting second on the outside lane. Going green again. This is about at the halfway point now. Pretty much, like I said, same strategy coming in. We're just going to focus on the fuel. We're going to keep ourselves in a good position, at least in the top 5 is where I feel comfortable. And just see how it goes. I mean, there's so much that can change in these races that there's no point in like being, I want to be exactly this position for the whole race, because so much changes. It's hard to predict. We're checking up here. We want to get to the bottom as soon as we can. Ethan O'Connor has a run. We barely cut across in front of him. A little bit risky, but I had enough room, so I felt like it was a safe move. Nico Servideo on the outside getting a run, but again, more cars on the inside now. We're going to be formed up with our teammate, Blake and Kyle, so fast cars. Don't feel bad about it. So the run goes on this outside lane, picks up Kyle, Joshua Lizaswain, Daniel Rodriguez, all up there. Natani also making it back from his penalty. So they're going to start building some runs here in the middle, which is bad for us. I'm starting to be stressed out because the more the pack gets sort of clogged up like this, close to each other pushing, the more probability there is for wrecks. And if we fall back further in the pack, we start getting closer to wrecks. So I start letting off a little bit, leaving a big gap. But if you look in our mirror, there's cars going 3 wide. It's going to be really close here. And then you see Tyler gets turned, and they wreck behind us, which is great for us because we didn't want it to be in front of us, obviously. Sucks for those guys, and Tyler, our teammate, of course, also sucks, but he took responsibility for the incident, so just unfortunate. Going to come to another caution here. Again, fuel strategy is pretty much the same. Nothing is really going on at this point. It's hard to do anything special. You just have to follow everybody in because you need the draft. You can't go on this crazy strategy where you race alone. Hoping to make up some positions here on the pit road now that we have the late box. A lot of cars ahead of us as well. O'Connor going a little bit slower on pit entry, but we're able to pass him here, holding 53, so not even going that fast. Pitting ahead of our teammate again, last box. Almost cut him off there. Sorry, buddy. And we got about 40 laps to go now, so we're coming closer to the end of this thing, but there's still a lot of time left. I mean, there are league races at Daytona that aren't even 40 laps long, so we get a 3 wide moment there at the end of pit road because Wolgas had some wheel spin and we hit our teammate a little bit. No damage though, but a little bit interesting. Choose cone this time. We're going to be looking, and we're going to choose the bottom just because, same reason as last. I feel like we want to avoid these wrecks if they happen and just play it safe. Still a lot of time left. Lots and lots of time left. Past the halfway point now. And I trust these cars here on the bottom. It's going to be Natani, D-Dog, and Kyle. So we're going to take the green here right about now. Yep. And we get a good restart. They're a little bit broken up on the top side. We have Troxel, our teammate, behind us. Still some Shedden cars on the top side, so they're still a factor. And most cars are still in this race. So there's still a race to be had. And we're just going to try and do what we've been doing. Run the bottom, save fuel. You know, it's the same strategy we've been doing all day. Topside's really broken up here, though, so no help for Josh from O'Connor, which is great for us because, again, we get to just run the bottom. Skip a couple laps into the run. Josh and them checks up on the top side, but we have another yellow for kind of a meaningless incident, which is totally okay for us. Didn't involve us. We're P4 now, so we're sitting fine. Going to be taking tires again and pitting for fuel again. Just no point in trying to stay out and hope for a quick yellow, and we might as well just come in. So we're going to do the same thing here. This time we're taking lefts, which I was talking about earlier, switching between lefts and rights. So we got about 30 laps to go. We're going to go green with like 32, 31 laps to go here. So that's at least enough for a one run on a fuel or on a full tank, and then one pit stop for another full tank. Big check up there as we enter pits, which we were thankful to not be involved in. Teammate behind us again. Some cars staying out. Those are just wave around cars, so we don't have to worry about those guys. Coming into the box. Hopefully going to get another good stop where we can take the lead, maybe because of that checkup. We're going to see, though, here. Drop the jacks fast. We get out fast. And yes, we're going to be right ahead of Josh. Real close, but we got him, which is good. Just because it feels comfortable to be in the lead as much as you don't want to lead all the time at a play track. Feels comfortable. Coming to the choose cone again. We're going to choose the bottom. Seems pretty just an easy decision to make here. And then we have Josh in the line with us on the bottom, and then we have Blake and Kyle on the top. So still feel comfortable. Haven't worked with Josh in a while, but I trust him to be behind me, so I'm not too worried about it. And yeah, so we're going to be rolling to the restart here. We're going to call it kind of late. We're going to wait just to bunch him up a little bit because I was waiting for Josh to catch up, and he just really didn't. He really dropped off the pack. And what that ended up doing is it caused this big checkup on the bottom where there's not a lot of cars lined up. So we kind of come to the top, try and block, but we're just like, no, that's not a good decision. We come back down to the bottom. We're going to run the bottom through 1 and 2 and see what happens here. I'm looking back in my mirror. Can't really see behind Josh if he has any help. He does. Natani moves up, though. And so we're on the bottom now. The outside lane is going to have a run out of 2, but Josh is coming up to our bumper. He's going to give us a push. It's going to be a light push, but enough to keep us up with the run. And then I make a split-second decision here to come to the top. And this was an amazing move because, as you can see kind of in the mirror back there, Josh had maybe a 3-car length gap behind him. So if we got pushed by him, we were just going to go backwards. So I was hoping, again, just to avoid those wrecks. So now I'm fine taking the lead, even if we burn more fuel. Pull up in front of Blake, a little aggressive, but it was safe enough. And at this point in the race, I felt like it was justified, and it put us in a better track position spot, just to keep us safe for the race. So we're running this top side. Keep running this top side. We're going to come all the way up to the wall. I'm trying to get them to race each other just so there can be a little bit of a shakeup on the bottom. Blake decides to go down to the inside. Good move by him. He has no help on the bottom, though. Our teammate Troxel has backed off or just doesn't have enough help. And we're going to be running the middle now with Natani behind us, which is, again, a good pusher for us, so we're feeling good about that. Blake starts to check up, and we just start going away here, Natani and I, and then there's a car behind him pushing as well. But the lanes are more even now, so there's more of a race to be had. It's kind of like earlier. 26 laps to go. We're still waiting on the fuel projected. We're going to come in as late as we can and then take another 2 cans of fuel to make it to the end, when we would be safe by a couple laps. So that was my strategy coming into this into this run, and I was hoping that was going to be the case and we wouldn't have any more yellows. Getting a good run on the top here still. But the middle lane they're still dragging back, or the bottom lane is still dragging back. They have more cars now, so it's going to be more of a race. It's going to put us at more of a risk, but I'm okay running the top side, at least with Natani behind me. I trust that sort of interaction. So as we skip ahead a couple 5 laps here, Natani looks for the bottom, and honestly, if you look at the chat, I was trying to type something and I didn't even want to come down, but we come down, and I was like, okay, well that works. We're gonna pit soon anyway. I didn't mean to block, but it ended up working out in our favor. Another one of those little uh-oh moments, but it worked out. Now we're leading on the bottom with 20 to go. We got 5 projected on the fuel. I was going to DM Natani, as you can see right there, 4, to let him know when my projected laps switches over to 4. Running on the bottom here. I'm about to send this message because it's about to send over to 4. And waiting here, still not going to send it yet. We get a text chat, and I'm like, uh-oh, something just happened. And Cameron calls the caution, so we got a caution right before that. And look at the laps, 19 to go. Our number was about 18 or 17, so we're going to have to come in here There's no reason to stay out, but now we have to stretch this. So we're going to be maybe a lap or a half a lap short, and depending on where you run in the draft or in the lead, we might not be good on fuel. So we need to play this really smart. We have to take 2 cans, definitely, and I think we take right sides for some handling just coming to the end of the race so we can have a car that can make some moves. Again, this first box is going to help us out a lot. And I sort of made a deal with Natani. I said, okay, I'm going to come out first probably, but I'm going to take the top, and if you can take the bottom, maybe you can jump ahead and then I can come in behind you and we can just work together to the end of this thing, which was my plan. I did really want to do that. We come out the leader, like I said. I go to the top. Natani takes the restart. He's going to be the control car. He takes the green. Good restart by him. But Kyle also gets a great restart. So my plan is completely ruined. It didn't work out. Kyle gets a good restart because he was in channel with Natani. Our teammate blows a third gear on the inside, which just sucks. So the inside's going to have no pushes. We have Connor Brandon behind us, so we have some support. But remember, we gotta save fuel. We're leading, which means we're in the worst fuel position possible. We're burning the most fuel, and we're on the outside, and we can't lift because we've got a car right on our tail. So this is a tricky situation. I was a little bit frustrated that Connor decided to push us here, but of course he couldn't have known any better. So I do a little bit of naughty lifting here. I start lifting and clutching like very quickly and gradually, or not gradually, but quickly and like very subtly, just so I can try and save some fuel. But Connor's just pushing us really hard, which is great for, I don't know, a run, but I'm just worried about the fuel. I mean, look, projected 16 and we were on 17. We only just came over to lap 16 to go, so I'm worried about the fuel. I don't want to come down in front of Natani because I don't want to lead. So we're just going to keep running this top side. I try and run us up the track so we can check up some more, and I'm lifting, just trying to gain some fuel margin on these guys. Because I don't want to be around the last lap not being able to make moves because I'm saving fuel. So really trying to save. I'm about half a lap short. We skipped ahead a little bit here. The bottom line starts to keep going because I checked up the outside so much. I see this gap right in front of D-Dog. I'm able to take it. Again, another really tight gap down to the bottom, but we're able to make it work, and this is a better spot for us. Now we're 4th in line, lots of cars to draft, lots of cars to push, and we're able to save fuel. And as we're looking at our projected now, it's a little bit better. We're 13 and 13, and it doesn't switch over until about turn 4, so we're way closer on fuel now, which is great. I'm feeling comfortable about fuel, and we can even save more now, so feeling really good about our fuel. And the outside lane now has less cars to work that are also saving fuel. So like just switch over in 3 and 4. So we've got some time here to save some fuel, which is good. And just, again, playing the patient game. Not a lot to race for right now. Other people are saving. So we'll just conserve until it's absolutely time to go and we have an opening. Outside lane is still there, though. They're not lifting too bad. Josh is pushing on the outside. Or sorry, leading on the outside, but pushing the fuel. He's not lifting much. He's trying to get the outside to work. And about 5 laps later, the outside lane is leading. Josh and the Shedderdan guys have pushed the top side all the way to the lead, ahead of Natani, who's leading the inside. And now people are starting to be okay on fuel. I mean, I'm very, very good on fuel, so I'm wondering that, these cars that have been in the draft longer than me are even better on fuel. So we've got a lot of cars that are starting to realize, hey, it's time to race. I mean, we're getting 7 to go, and the packs are checking up. I get a really bad bump there on Goss, but it works out. And again, more checkups. You can see up there, Josh is working the lanes, goes to the bottom, pulling Natani with him. The topside kind of drops off a little bit, so he comes back high, but there's no push, so he has to come back down. And again, 7 to go, so it's starting to get dicey. A point of no return is 4 to go, which means we have no cautions past that point. So now is the time to start making moves to get yourself in a position if we do have a caution, and if we don't, at least put yourself in a good position for those 4 laps. Josh down to the bottom again, still trying to work the lanes. He's doing a good job of it so far, but it's also because Natani needs to save, and Blake needs to save, I'm assuming, as well. Coming to 6 to go now. Things still shaping up to be a good finish for us. We're in about the top 10, but I want us to keep going further. I want Kyle to push Natani harder so we can just get away from this top side, because I'm worried that there'll either be a wreck or they'll find a gap. We take the 5 to go. Josh is still working the lanes. We're really on Will now. Really pushing him pretty hard. Very, very close to his bumper, as you have to be in these cars. Because I'm good on fuel. I'm like, okay, now I got to go because this lane isn't going to work if I'm not pushing. Josh commits pretty far down to the bottom, but this top side is still working. The Shedjidin guys, teammates, really working well together. Josh comes up high again to block. He's still working the lanes, hesitates a little bit, comes down to the bottom. Feeling okay, we back off a little bit just so we can try and build a run, get a little bit away from these guys in case something happens, but we're still good. We're going to take the point of no return this time, so no cautions, all bets are off. Now I'm like, okay, everybody's going to be pushing. Everyone has either met their fuel target or it's too late for them to make it, so they're just going to start going. As you can see, big run on the outside with the 29 and the 12, and they almost wrecked. They're going 3 wide right after the point of no return. Checks up the outside lane. We're going to be way down on the bottom, just trying to get away in case something happens. We're totally okay, though. We end up staying in line with Goss, but they're pinching up the track now. Josh is trying to make sure Blake doesn't get by, and I'm pushing the 9, trying to make sure that Natani doesn't check up so bad so these Shedjidin guys can just clear themselves. But we're still trying to hang on. We're catching a lap car, but it shouldn't be too big of a problem. Lanes are drawing even now. Pretty much even cars on both sides. And, you know, again, even fuel. So I'm hoping that we can get a little bit ahead of these guys. Start to push Will even a little bit more. But I'm worried about these Shedjidin cars because they're committed to each other. 3 cars that will race for each other no matter what. And we have Josh, Natani, and Will, who are neither of them are on a team, or none of them are on a team together, and I'm not on a team with them. And even D-Dog behind me, he's not on a team with any of them either. So it's a little bit of a wild card here on the bottom, which is okay. But I'm worried about our chances coming to the later laps. You know, of course I want to have a chance to win. Turn off my lap counter. I don't even want to look at it no more. Just trying to focus up. Josh leading the inside lane. We're still pulling pretty even. A little bit of a wiggle, and Josh goes down to pit road. He wasn't able to make it on fuel. He pushed too hard as he was leading that outside lane, and he just has to pit. Plays it safe. Now we're at 2 laps to go. Natani's leading the inside lane. The outside lane had to check up really bad out of 4 for whatever reason, so the inside lane gains a ton of time. D-Dog gets closer to me, I get closer to Will. We start getting an even bigger run than we had before. And Natani's clear of Blake, so I'm like, okay. I'm thinking now Natani can work the lanes, and he does. He goes up to the top. Gets a push from Blake, which makes it so he can come back down. Goss is the leader on the inside. I'm yelling at D-Dog to push me. But it's okay. We're still getting a good run here. Coming to the white flag as the outside lane is still fading. They're fading further than I thought they'd be. I thought they were going to be still working together, but Gino just has a little bit of a gap to Blake's bumper. We take the white flag. Natani's the leader. I'm thinking if something bad goes down here, I'm probably going to go with Natani. Just because, you know, we've always worked together at the plates. Coming into 1 here. Give Goss a little bit of a badly timed push, but we stay. We keep the run. Another wiggle from the top side. So I'm thinking I might even be clear of Blake to go up top, but I'm not. I'm not clear. Goss might come up. I'm pushing him hard. He's going to look high. He's going to look low. He looks low. Natani blocks. Bumper grab from him. That's just unlucky. Maybe a little bit of a misjudgment from Natani. But now we've got a gap. No help from behind, but we're going to have a good gap here to get a run. The draft is helping us out. The outside lane drops off entirely. Natani starts checking up because he runs out of fuel. We move to the outside, and he's running out of fuel. D-Dog behind us, and we think we're good on fuel, but we're not sure if D-Dog is either. We're going to come down, and we take the lead, and we take the win on the last quarter of the last lap of a 100-lap race at Daytona, as it all just came together for us there in the end. I mean, I had no idea how that was going to go with Goss and Natani. I wasn't even sure that Natani ran out of fuel. I thought he was good. So I just made the move no matter what, even if he was out of fuel or not. And unfortunately, I don't have enough fuel to do my burnouts. But incredible race. We played the strategy right. We were right where I wanted to be right at the end, even with a little bit of frustration. And we finished first to start off Season 13 and probably the best way possible with a win. So, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you like these kind of videos. I'll probably make more if you like them. And maybe it's interesting to see my perspective into some of these races. So, yeah, we win the first race. We win the Ifar 250. But we got next week at Texas and the week after at Southern National, 2 tracks that I want to perform really good at, which also race very differently to this one. So, yeah, hoping to see you guys there, and thanks for watching.